Hey guys, this is DFD, aka Dark Frozen Depths, back with another Kamihime project video. This is something I honestly feel like I need to talk about because there's a lot of mixed feelings about different stuff and whatnot. More of what you pretty much make of it. But anyways, starting off, a lot of you know about the recent grab bag gachas. I still haven't changed my opinion on them. They are still very, very good purchases if you happen to have the money for it. If you don't, that's fine, because not everybody would. But recent things kind of led to basically bad timing with some other gotchas they just did. Because think about it, the first grab bag was $100, the second one's another $100. There's the SSR guarantees they did with the second one, the miracle ticket they did a while back, and now they've added step up gotchas to practically give you, I would say, the um the 100% Adons and the Kaisers and all that. The timing on that is just horrible, because there's already some people that's bitter about not being able to get the grab bag, and then there's others that might possibly be bitter about other players actually being able to. It's a lot of different things going on about that. Honestly, I think that was horrible timing, and that's extreme greed on their part. If you do happen to want to pay for that gacha, so be it, but me personally, I don't think I will, because while I can, I'm choosing not to. The timing is just completely horrible with that. There's numerous other issues with it as well, but personally speaking, I don't think I'm doing that one. That might change later down the line when I feel a little bit better about the situation, but right now I can't say with confidence I would be doing that. But also something else that others have pointed out is the fact that this game gets pretty grindy, and I can see where you're coming from with that one, but at the same time it's going to be grindy regardless. Just looking at the fourth tier souls is a long grind, I can't deny that one. At the same time, it is extremely grindy no matter what you're doing. This game is pretty much designed to be that way, and while I don't agree with the complaints about it, I can see why people would, because not everybody's used to it. At the same time, like I said, it's still something you have to get used to with this type of game, because it's going to happen. It is going to happen. And pretty much, I've done plenty of videos about easing up different types of grinds, like what to aim for, what not to aim for, basically to speed up any sort of screw ups. Now at this point in the game, most of the better weapons are under the Guardian fights. So that said, you're going to have to seriously aim for those ones. It's just a whole bunch of mixed thoughts about that one too. It's up to whoever on that one if they want to get it or not. But the 4th tier souls aren't too bad to really deal with. It's just, it takes a long time. I've played plenty of games where basically you had to spend 5 to even 8 times the effort to grind out stuff. And one of those games, which was called Girls X Battle 2, they even locked it behind pretty much a time system, where it's one of those AFK games basically, but the main content to really get you anything, you have to literally wait for a while in order to be able to do it again. It took me like a year to get to level 130 on there, and that's still nowhere near to where some of the players are now. They're like level 200, 300, maybe 400. And you start getting a lot of the better stuff in the later points, even the high rarity characters in that game. So that said, it's not something you can really rush. But that's another thing too. You really shouldn't try to rush any sort of grind unless you know you can either A, pay for it, or B, be completely okay with anything that might happen that you don't agree with. That includes the gotchas, because I've seen a lot of that as well. Again, I can sort of get why it's frustrating. I've been there too. I've literally spent a month without SSRs at one point, and that's including paid pools, so that's a thing. But again, it's something you don't really have too much control over. You can just either attempt it or not, and you have to accept the outcome, unfortunately. That's all I can really say about that one. There's ways around it, because again, like I said, Guardian weapons, they are pretty good. They're not gacha, you just grind for them and get them. It's just a matter of getting to a point where you can reliably, like, just clear these, or even possibly solo them. Again, I can understand why people feel certain ways. At the same time, I don't 100% agree with it, because again, it's something that when you think about it logically, there's no reason to complain, but at the same time, you can still understand their frustration. So it's more of a sympathetical point, if anything. But another thing I wanted to talk about too, the whole thing with the scripting and all that, I've pointed that out in quite a few videos, but it's become a major issue, especially with the 4th tier souls, because there are people that just don't like how some manage to pay for all that, and then there's others that's just getting a program to basically grind that out for them. That's not a good thing either. Let's be for real. And I personally don't like that either, because like I said in other videos, it seems like cheating when you have something to do it for you and it's not player input. Going out and buying the grab bags to skip a lot of progress, that's still player input, because you still need to go in there, confirm all that yourself. You still need to use your own money if you want to. You still have to grind out your own account. But getting a program to pretty much do that for you, like, it's even called a macro in other games. No, that's just cheating. You're having something else do it for you. And then it's an absurdly high amount of stuff that they've done to do it. I normally avoid names on this one, but I do have to point this one out because they've pretty much all but confirmed it. But a player by the name of Geoff, and they were on one of the top rankings in the guild competition due to it. They've gotten Medea before the second grab bag. Before the compensation for the first one, in fact. Again, calculating all that, it is impossible for a normal player to even get that. Because we're talking 3 of those books before they even gave the compensation for an extra book. And that's assuming they got the grab bag. And they claim to have just poked at other raids and whatnot. You do not know how much resources it really takes in order to do all of that. You really do not. Because it is like an insane amount of just refilling BP, going into so many different raids to hopefully get a page, raid medals if they're a factor. There's just so much that just doesn't add up with it. And that's my biggest gripe about it, because quite frankly, it's something that nobody really should have. I mean, think about it. There's so many pages that you have to get just for one book. And that gets expensive through raid medals. It gets extraordinarily expensive through raid medals. And the fact that they pretty much left their computer on 24/7 to have a program do it for them is just no. Logically, it would be pretty brilliant, but it's against the terms of service. Because I cannot deny that it would be pretty smart to pretty much just have the game run for you. But hey, guess what? That's what this little auto battle function is. You can click that yourself. Like, there's so many issues I have with the whole scripting thing. And then the biggest thing too is the fact that it does slow down raids whenever a scripter jumps in, because it causes everybody to lag or even possibly crash. And again, it's against the terms of service. There's no denying that. It is against the terms of service. That means you're doing something you should not be doing. But that's just my personal opinion on that too. I don't think it's a good thing. Period. But Another thing I should point out too that a lot of players have mentioned is also how they're handling events, because of the fact that events, I can sort of see why some people would get bored of them, because of the fact that they're kind of like reusing characters. But if you think about it, each fight really does have its own concept. It's just that at some point you become so strong that you don't get any sort of challenge out of them. They tried to fix that a little bit later down the line, and that's where they added new difficulties and whatnot. But that's on DMM, and that's like a year later. We've still got a long time to go for that. But if you really want a challenge, you can just pick another team and make them weaker. I will still say that. That's kind of why I did some of those videos you've seen before, where I go with our Kamihime or with certain setups. That's something you really have to do on your own. You have to find your own challenge if the game is not providing enough of it for you, because quite frankly, it's not really the dev's responsibility if you're too strong. Especially if you paid your way to get that far. I honestly have to say that nobody has any sort of right to complain about being too strong, especially if they paid for it. Just get a weaker setup. The game allows that. But something that I can't defend the devs for, because this is where they screwed up on. The fact that they're not doing anything about the scripters. Because their complaint is that they can't do anything about it. It's not that they can't, it's that honestly they're too lazy. Because they went out of their way to go and double check all the people that did excess runs for the accessory quest thing way back. That was a glitch that they sat and did on their own, the devs, and players tried to abuse it. They went out of their way to go dig through everybody's accounts and take the excess accessories off if you've done that. They have ways to check your data. They have ways to go see what you've done. That is laziness on their part. Because you can do the same thing with the scripters. And honestly, if you know somebody's a scripter, you can screenshot their player ID and send that to the devs. There's a way to check after raids if they got an MVP or Vice or hosted it. Or if you just so happen to know that player and they're on your friend list or something. There's ways to do that. The devs honestly have no excuse for that one. That is just pure, complete laziness. And that's not good. It's not cool. It's not something that they really should ignore, because again, it has closed down some games on other stuff. I've mentioned that in a few other videos. I am not happy with Dragon Providence getting closed down because of it. I'm not happy if this game will get closed down due to it. And then they have screwed up on the other fronts too, on multiple things. So that said, it's not looking too good on that front. If they keep this up, eventually people are going to get really pissed off and they're going to start quitting or any sorts of other issues or whatnot. And I honestly wouldn't blame them. But at the same time, I'm not going to quit because I put so much money into this game and I'm still going to get my money's worth. So whenever this game closes down, that's when I'm going to worry about what I have to do after the fact. But for right now, I'm playing the game, trying to enjoy it as much as possible. And that's another thing I have to say too, the fact that it's still based on whoever, like the individual player, if they want to spend on this game or not. You can still do this 100% free, but you still have to accept the terms of things too, because again, it's not going to last forever. There's times where people can screw up. I will admit I'm not happy with quite a few things with this game, but I still enjoy it enough to keep playing. So it's still more or less what you make of it. If you think it's not worth your time, then by all means, go ahead and just find another game. I don't blame you if you do want to quit, because there are some things that are definitely worth quitting over. Because there are some major screw-ups on the dev's part. In fact, we recently just had the Dark Union event. It should have had a weapon that can final break limit. But the devs set it where to where it can't. I'm hoping they fix that later on. Usually they're pretty good with catching that type of stuff, and they actually do fix it. But I still don't know for sure yet. But that's just the way I see it. And then, again, the new gacha where you can do a step up for those add-ons, that was horrible timing. It really was. That was just incredibly bad timing on their part, because people were trying to have incomes for the coronavirus thing. Even still, you probably spent for the grab bags. It's just horrible, horrible timing either way. It's not something that the dev should have did. Me personally, I don't think you should spend on it, even though it is worth spending on, because you probably already spent on other stuff. The grab bag has got far more priority than that gacha. But that's just my personal thoughts about it. You can probably even tell from the sound of my voice that I'm a little bit out of it because of a lot of the things that's been going on, and it is indeed a bit stressful, because I do hear about a lot of this stuff, and some people do ask for my opinions on it, and quite frankly, I don't like a lot of the stuff that's gone down in recent months, but there's not too much you can do about it. You can either continue playing or you can quit, bottom line. And I personally don't see it worth quitting over, but I can still agree with some reasons that people have brought up for quitting over it. It's all up to you, basically. But me personally, I'm still going to be playing the game, especially given recent stuff that I've just gotten. So, that said, I'm going to continue. And personally speaking, I think I'm in it for the long haul, because even if you know a game's bad, it's still a fact of, are you going to continue getting what you feel is worth out of it, or are you just going to give everything up? It pretty much comes down to that. But anyways, on a lighter note though, there are some stuff that I found out that's actually worth looking forward to later down the line. So keep that in mind, guys. They've even recently added, or going to add on the DMM side, the catastrophe bosses as actual Eidolons, SSR Eidolons. One of them's going to be implemented into the gacha pretty soon for DMM. They have so many good effects that it borderline breaks the game. I'm still looking in the details for it, but from what I know, they'll have an effect like the Guardians, where they'll multiply your weapon skill effects by a certain amount. My guess is at least 40%, but it could be anywhere up to 100%. They will also give 100% assault. And they also had some very high stats. I think it was 600 HP and about 3,600 attack when maxed. And the first one to show up is actually the water one. She's going to be the first one to pop up as an SSR Gacha Eidolon. So honestly, if the game does live that long on Nutaku, look forward to that. But if you really want to see it now, I would suggest playing on the DMM Japanese side in order to really get a feel for that. It will take a long time to try and get strong enough to really handle a lot of things, but again, that's another option you can do. It's something that's available to you if you really go out your way to do it. But anyways, that's all for this. I'm going to get back to more grinding on this, because even though I managed to pretty much get both grab bags and just skip ahead and get Medea, still a lot of grinding I have to do for other stuff. In fact, if I want to optimize it for Tower, I need to get 2 more of those books in order to get a fire weapon for her. So there's that. Then there's stuff that might be more grindy later down the line too. I'm pretty sure that getting the most out of the Lucent weapons and the Machine Beast is going to take as much, if not more, grinding than 4th tier souls. And it will even work like Tower, where it limits your selection of characters. Because to get the most out of it, you have to do elemental, not well, yeah, elemental matching as well, of course, but also favorite weapon type matching. Like, certain characters will like certain weapons, and then on top of that, the content itself will have an increased drop rate if you do that. So there is quite a lot. So, to be quite honest, it's going to be grindy. But I've seen worse. I've seen far, far worse. Honestly, I will say this without a doubt. If there's anybody that has a problem with grinding on this game, go try to get all the trophies on Star Ocean 4. Go try to get all the rare stuff in Final Fantasy 12. There's plenty of other examples I can put out there. Epic 7 is a pretty grindy game too, when you have to try and optimize all your equipment. There's plenty of examples. I can easily say a lot of those games are worse than the grind on this. Even the grind on L-Sword is actually pretty bad too. But it used to be worse, but they kind of fixed it a little bit. But I don't think L-Sword is worth playing anymore either, because I've quit that. But anyways, I'm going to end this video here. It's been a while. I've said what I basically wanted to say. But again, that's all for now, guys. I'm going to have a video on the event pretty soon, because I'm, of course, going to play it. I've already grinded up a lot of materials to open up expert raids, so anyways, that's all for now. Again, things are pretty much what you make of it. If somebody does something bad, you still have to react to it your own way. It can be good or bad with how you react as well. That's all you really can do. But like I said, just think and act on your own, and hopefully do not do anything that is against the rules of the game or the terms of service or whatever. You do not want to do that. Don't try to set yourself up for something you can get in trouble in. But again, that's all for now, guys. More of this will definitely come soon, especially with some other stuff that I find out, because I'll probably be doing a few more future log videos thanks to that stuff. But that's all for now, and take care.